Now at 6, we are keeping a close watch on the coronavirus pandemic in our community. Just moments ago, the governor confirmed a third person in Broward County has died from COVID-19. Also, Broward County Public Schools announced an individual has tested positive for the virus. Meantime, hotels in Miami-Dade are no longer taking reservations, with a few exceptions. And testing continued today at CB Smith Park in Pembroke Pines, but only those who met a certain criteria were tested. And here are the latest numbers in Florida. So far, 720 people have tested positive. 162 of those cases are in Broward, 156 in Miami-Dade. 12 people have died in Florida because of COVID-19. And according to the governor, 60% of those infected with the virus are younger than 60 years old. Good evening. Thanks for being with us tonight. I'm Alina Machado. Tonight we have extensive team coverage with everything you need to know as we track the pandemic in South Florida. We begin with NBC6 investigator Phil Prazin and the latest death in Broward County. Phil.
Well, Governor DeSantis just told us that third death in Broward County was another one here at the assisted living facility, the Atria Willow Woods. Now, state records released today tell us that he was a 92-year-old man with no travel history, meaning he contracted the virus here in Florida. Three separate times a Fort Lauderdale EMS crew drove in, sirens on, signs of a still active scene. Fort Lauderdale EMS tells me the patients were taken to Holy Cross Hospital, but cannot confirm whether COVID-19 was a factor until tests come back.
I'm still pretty numb. This is all so new to me.
The family of Richard Kern still mourns his loss. He was the first death in Broward County from the virus. His mother and son spoke to us by FaceTime.
Very hard. I'm flooded with memories from my childhood and from years past of how strong he was, how gentle he was, how encouraging he was to me.
Saturday, we learned from the health department there have been 2 more deaths after Curran. One cluster of people infected live here at Atria Willow Woods. According to the state, so far 10 people have tested positive. 4 more wait for results. Governor DeSantis tells us investigators found the facility did not properly screen construction workers, staff, and cooks for the virus before they came inside.
That is exactly what you are not supposed to do.
Saturday, we found the facility had past run-ins with state regulators. According to state records, last May, inspectors noticed Willowwood failed to determine appropriate care for 2 residents, keep accurate medication paperwork, and display telephone numbers to lodge complaints. The facility did correct those violations by July. And no one with Atria wanted to go on camera with us today, but they did release a pretty stern statement in response to Governor DeSantis, saying the governor's comments were unfair and inaccurate, and saying that they began screening March 4th, everybody who came in to the building. And even before that was even before Governor DeSantis issued that executive order banning visitors to assisted living facilities. And then the statement goes on to say that we are not doing everything in our power to keep our residents and employees safe is unacceptable, inaccurate, and reckless. This is a time when government and business should be working together. That's from the assisted living facility here in Fort Lauderdale. Live, I'm Phil Prazin, NBC6 News.
Phil, thank you. Our team coverage continues now with NBC6's Kim Wynn and new tough measures in Miami-Dade County. Kim.
Yeah, that's right. Restrictions are coming out basically every day to try to fight the coronavirus. The latest change is that all the hotels here on Miami Beach and in Miami-Dade will have to shut down by Monday night. This is just one of several changes here in Miami-Dade as well as Broward County.
This is a situation unlike any other and will likely get worse before it gets better.
In this video, Miami-Dade Mayor Carlos Jimenez lays out his newest restriction to fight the spread of the coronavirus.
This morning, I signed an emergency order to close hotels, motels, and other lodging establishments.
Hotels and short-term rentals, the lifeline of Miami's economy, have to be fully closed to guests starting 11:59 Monday night.
All of this is meant to stem the spread of COVID-19.
It's a fight different counties are taking different approaches to. While hotels and motels in Miami-Dade are shutting down, hotels in Broward County remain open. Earlier this week, Miami-Dade shut down restaurants, bars, and non-essential businesses.
Groceries, pharmacies, convenience stores, and gas stations remain open.
In Broward County, Fort Lauderdale and Sunrise have closed most of their businesses. A spokesperson for Broward County Commission says shutting down businesses is up to each individual city and that the county can't shut down businesses. Beaches in Miami-Dade are closed. In Broward, most of the sand beaches have been closed. Again, a call made by individual cities. Many say the changes are hard to keep up with. These visitors check out of their hotel in Miami-Dade on Monday.
Sounds like we got lucky with the hotel and we leave the day they're shutting everything down.
I can't believe they're just shutting everything down.
Yeah, and as far as here in Miami-Dade, a spokesperson for the county says there is some flexibility for people who are here already in their hotel who plan on being here past Monday. For now, we're in Miami Beach. Kim Nguyen, NBC6 News.
All right, Kim, thank you. And today was the second day of testing at CB Smith Park, and hundreds of people showed up, but some were turned away. And that's where we find NBC6 reporter Arlene Borenstein live with how things went there. Arlene.
Alina, yeah, on a typical Saturday, we usually know CB Smith Park here in Pembroke Pines as a place for families, barbecues, the annual chili cook-off. But now they're in their second day of testing here as a COVID-19 testing site. You can see the National Guard at its entrances helping medical personnel and police.
When it comes to the number of swabs, we do have enough test kits, so it's not an issue of running out of test kits.
Memorial Healthcare Systems Dr. Jennifer Goldman says they went into day 2 of drive-through coronavirus testing with confidence because of a successful day 1.
It was a phenomenal effort. We tested a total of 745 people yesterday.
However, 87 people were turned away Friday, not meeting mandatory criteria for tests. Here's who will be tested with proof of identification.
Number 1 are first responders, anybody who is police, firefighters, EMT, or hospital workers. The second are anyone who is 65 and older with symptoms and chronic conditions. And then the third is anyone who has symptoms, who has traveled internationally or to an area within our country that's been heavily affected by coronavirus.
Goldman says people will have 3 steps to expect. First, a screening by nurses. Second, a National Guardsman will get personal information. Third, a guardsman will conduct the testing swab. For those of you, though, who are not sick, prevention is a must. Here's one man who got out of his car at the park testing site and approached police without social distancing in mind.
Sir, the park is closed. Sir, please get away from me with your sickness.
The site in Pembroke Pines opens to cars at 9 a.m. 7 days a week, allowing for a 225 car capacity per day. Once the limit is reached, they ask people to come back, and all drivers can only enter at Flamingo Road and Johnson Street. Other test sites have opened, and Miami Mayor Francis Suarez tweeted the city's first site is coming.
We are working feverishly to announce the opening of a testing site in the city of Miami. Once we have those details, we will announce them.
Now, at this particular testing site here in Pembroke Pines, there are some things we want you to know. First, if you are driving a sick patient here, doctors do not advise that, but if you must, take every precaution to stay healthy. Also, whoever's being tested must be at a car window. And lastly, if you do not fall under these testing requirements, you are asked by doctors to use telemedicine, but they say prepare for very long wait times. Reporting live in Pembroke Pines, Arlene Borenstein, NBC6 News.
Arlene, thanks. The U.S. Senate convened a rare weekend session today, hoping to draft an economic rescue package. Key congressional and White House officials met on Capitol Hill for more talks on the aid package that some officials say could reach $2 trillion. Now, if the package is approved, it would provide paychecks for suddenly jobless Americans, money for hospitals, and aid to industries hurt by the crisis. And during the White House Coronavirus Task Force briefing today, President Trump talked about his decision to invoke the Stafford Act in response to the public health emergency. The act allows FEMA to assist state and local governments during natural catastrophes.
This is the first time in our nation's history that a president's used the Stafford Act to declare a major disaster in response to a public health crisis. Never happened before.
Now, during the briefing, Vice President Pence said one of his staffers tested positive, and as a result, he and his wife will be tested for COVID-19 sometime today. Meantime, the number of Americans under virtual lockdown grew Saturday to over 80 million. Today, New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy joined other states in directing all residents to stay home. New Jersey joining California, New York, Illinois, and Connecticut in issuing a stay-at-home order to fight the spread of the new coronavirus. People may still leave their homes for walks and exercise, as well as for essential needs such as food and medical care. Restaurant meals can still be delivered to homes. Well, still ahead on NBC6, officials are asking people to avoid big crowds. And while it's not a crowd of people, some saw clusters of boats on the water. We'll tell you where this scene played out.
And it's a little quiet along Biscayne Boulevard. Some people walking or going for a jog to kill a little time. How are you killing time? We ask the question coming up.
Well, being inside is probably the last place you want to be right now, but it's the only place we can catch a break from the heat. Problem is, more hot temperatures coming our way. We'll talk about it next in your First Alert forecast.
Welcome back. Things are very different in the wake of the COVID-19 outbreak, and with so many staying at home to prevent a spread, many are thinking of creative ways to keep the mind to keep the mind engaged. NBC6 reporter Stephanie Bertini is live with some ideas to keep you active. Stephanie.
Yeah, Alina, some people just can't sit that still, they're telling me, and others just feel like, I haven't been going into work, I'm not doing much. Others dealing with kids. For a lot of us, it's just boring.
It's a pretty quiet Saturday along Biscayne Boulevard, quiet as it is across South Florida. COVID-19 has some people a little restless, a little bored, making exercise outdoors a great idea, or a long walk to the grocery store refreshing.
Yeah, I guess 30 minutes walking, but at least it's something. It's hard to just be still.
Nursing student Natalia Ruiz is looking for ways to fill her time.
Cook a lot, I'm cleaning a lot. And of course, I'm doing my school stuff. We still have some assignments to do online.
Miami-Dade public school students are learning online too. And Palmer Trinity School PE teacher Jack Weinberger decided to make things a little extra entertaining while working from home.
Now that our workout's done,
the response I got from the students has been super positive. In our first online classroom, the students were telling me how much it made them smile, how much it made them laugh.
South Florida librarian Billy Allen has some extra time on his hands since libraries closed due to COVID-19, and so he's pushing his personal storytelling brand, Three Kings Visions, a YouTube channel offering online story time now on Instagram Live. Mr. Billy is there.
Peekaboo! I'm getting an incredible response. Obviously, the kids love it, but also the parents are entertained. And people are requesting that I do more stories. So I feel like I'm going to keep this and make this a continuous thing every night.
For many of us, every night is looking a little different, as is every day. So we are naturally looking for ways to use the kind of free time some of us have never seen before.
And since I know you have the free time, let's continue this conversation on Facebook. Right now, I'm going to jump on Facebook through my cell phone. We're going to go live, and I'm going to be asking you to tell me, how are you filling your free time? I'm reporting live in downtown Miami. Stephanie Bertini, NBC6 News.
All right, Stephanie, thank you. Meantime, a once crowded Clearwater Beach left completely empty after it was closed to the public because of coronavirus concerns. County leaders there made the decision after images showed the beach crowded with tourists, upsetting many who felt Floridians were not taking the threat seriously. And while the beach may be empty, the water is not, as people take their boats out as a way to get out of the house. These images coming in from Palm Beach. Although parks and beaches and recreational facilities are closed, there are no restrictions when it comes to marinas or boat ramps. Officials do recommend that if you do take your boat out, you should continue to follow CDC guidelines and practice social distancing. And here at NBC6, we are practicing social distancing. It's the reason why the NBC6 weather team has been working from home this week. And it's also why First Alert meteorologist Ryan Phillips is live now from his home. Hey, Ryan.
Okay, Alina, good evening to you. And hey, as far as the boats are concerned, if you got it, do it. This is actually a decent weather pattern to get out. Less wind than we've seen in the last several weekends combined. Here's your boating forecast for Sunday. More of the same. The wind's coming down just a touch out of the east at about 5 to 10 knots. Seas at about 2 feet. And the bay water's a light chop. No advisories on the waters. This evening, temperature sliding down through the upper 70s. The breeze beginning to relax. And as you look up above this evening, skies are clear, and that's the rule on through the late evening hours. I'll talk about a shower chance here in just a moment. Of course, we haven't seen any rain today. Haven't seen any rain really this month. We've had one wet day in Miami, and that yielded all the rain we've seen so far this month, 9/100ths of an inch. However, we've had about 5 rain days in Fort Lauderdale, but the totals under 1/2 of an inch. So this is a very dry March for us. We're at 82 still late in the evening here in Miami. Other locations into the upper 70s and lower 80s. Again, a slow fall into the lower 70s for lows tonight. Skies mostly clear. The storm track far off to our north. We're just not going to see any changes to our pattern as a stubborn ridge of high pressure stays overhead. And in fact, the temperature's getting hotter. So let's get into your forecast now. We're going to be above average for the next several days. Overnight tonight, lows only at 72. We may see an overnight shower. Otherwise, that shower chance dissolves in the morning. Another Sunday filled with sunshine, highs at 85. Your 7-day forecast, 84 on Monday. Then we turn up the heat. 87 by Wednesday, 88 just shy of a record high on Thursday. And unfortunately, late in the 7-day forecast, you'll notice an increase in the humidity. Alina?
All right, Ryan, thank you. Meantime, many families are bracing themselves for the financial impact of the coronavirus. The concern is very real over how they're going to feed their families. But as NBC6 reporter Derek Lewis shows us, local organizations are teaming up to make sure everyone can put food on the table.
Here at Hialeah Hospital, people are getting everything from milk to apples, and they tell me this is really making a difference. The line to pick up free food stretched for blocks.
And I don't blame him because, I mean, you don't get nothing for free nowadays.
Joe Aquino and his wife picked up some food for themselves and their neighbors. So did Sadie Lorenzo.
Great. It's great. It's a great initiative for the people of Hialeah.
She has many mouths to feed in the next few days.
Next week, everybody home, 5 people in the house, everything is going to be great.
FarmShare partnered with Hialeah Hospital to give out more than 500 gallons of milk, bags of potatoes, and canned goods.
That's part of what Hialeah Hospital does, is we focus on what are the needs of the community and finding creative ways to do it.
Michael Bell, CEO of the hospital, says he knew the staff and volunteers needed to step up when word got out that people were being laid off and businesses were shut down.
We have a responsibility for the wellness of the entire community and the neighborhood around us.
I wish they come every week.
FarmShare says food donations will be happening for the next few weeks. The hospital says events like these will happen as long as there is a need. In Hialeah, I'm Derek Lewis, NBC6 News.
Coming up in sports, another NHL player has tested positive for COVID-19. Plus, the Miami Dolphins making 10 of their free agent signings official. We'll hear from one of them coming up.
And connect to the stories that matter to you specifically, the coronavirus pandemic, with NBC6's QR codes during the newscast. When you see this on your screen, point your camera and scan the code to go to our digital site for more coverage on this rapidly developing story. Again, just point and connect with NBC6.